Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Now, we're currently in the interim stages between two debates, so I'm going to hand over to the panel so you can enjoy the dulcet tones of whoever is in there while I set up for the next live show.
One of the arguments for heliocentric models, but I was wondering what would be the explanation if, the Earth is the center of the universe.
You just conceded this point, and now you're back to begging the question.
I'm not back to begging anything. I'm just.
We don't have to prove anything. You're the one that has to prove it's heliocentric, and you're not proving it. You're asking us to prove your argument.
No, I'm not arguing with anything. I'm just stating what.
Not argue. Argument. Argument doesn't mean argue. It means you're trying to validate your position, and we're saying that you can validate an argument or invalidate an argument.
I mean, I think I know what he's kind of driving at. I mean, try to be on his side. I think he's trying to say, obviously the heliocentric model has an explanation, and it seems like a valid explanation. And so what do we have? We have nothing, but that's a valid explanation. Now, but an explanation isn't proof of what's going on, and that's our point. Just because the heliocentric model has a proof or an explanation of what's going on, that doesn't make that explanation true.
Well, first of all, Paul.
Okay.
First of all, I disagree, Paul.
Actually,
I disagree, Paul. You said they do not have a valid explanation. That's why we are on this channel, because we have found faults in their explanation. This is what happens when you go to begging the question.
Good. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm actually speaking for him. I'm not speaking for myself.
Don't speak for him. He's doing enough to bury himself. He's been watching this since 20.
I'm not burying myself.
You've been watching this since 2015.
I have not been watching this since 2015. I actually
not this, but the subject of flat Earth. You just said you have been interested in the subject of flat Earth, heliocentric versus geocentric since 2015.
Interested in listening to people talk about it or actually learning about it? Which one is it?
Both. Well, anyway, the other guy that
in 4 years
explained, that's good enough argument.
What argument? He didn't explain anything. He begged the question. He shouldn't have. That you got to validate your argument and provide proof, which you haven't.
Well, if it was an argument, the retrograde of planets can.
Well, if there was unicorns,
can make.
If there was unicorns,
heliocentric model seem valid.
Sorry,
if there was unicorns, but there are no unicorns in reality.
I just covered this on the last show.
Let's talk about reality.
But we can observe the retrograde of planets.
Sorry, what's a planet?
What's a planet? In the sky.
Hello, what's a planet? That's a presupposition in itself, isn't it?
It's a moving star.
What is a planet in the heliocentric model which you presuppose?
Moving object.
Right, something of physical mass? Yeah, so you've got quite a few presuppositions in this example then, my friend.
Okay. But that other guy that saw my point of view kind of explained it fully, and I'm happy.
Do you understand what a presupposition is? Before you just glance on over it.
I guess it's an assumption, some sort.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. In this case, the outcome itself is the assumption. The outcome you're trying to claim you're proving is the heliocentric model. And in your example of retrograde motion, you describe the heliocentric model in your presupposition that things fly around a spherical Earth. That's called begging the question, assuming your outcome. Part of the premise of your example is the outcome. Tumbleweeds.
I guess, sure. And I found something that you guys might want to be interested in. This is from Ars Technica. Talks about how 99% of the communications is land-based. Have you seen it?
Okay.
See if I can pull this up.
Sounds like a start of a flat Earth proof, but go on. Did that have a devastating globe argument attached to it? The 99% of communications being ground-based.
No, but I always hear people talking about how satellites rule most communications, and that you can pretty much say that's mostly triangulation involved. But if it ever were to come up that satellites prove a globe, you could, I guess, put this into there and saying that, well, we have mostly land-based communications as well.
Oh yeah, we've got a far more effective debunking of satellites. The medium that they are proposed to exist in is completely fake. It violates a law of nature. It's a miracle. The miracle of the vacuum of the sky. Well, that's just simply not possible.
Could weather balloons be considered a satellite?
Certainly could.
Yeah, if they're all on balloons.
Hey, John.
I mean, we dealt with this like 3 years ago. Me and Robert Pisano did. I mean, why is this subject even coming back up again?
No, I was just wondering what your group has thoughts to say on those things.
My group? What group is that?
This Nathan Oakley chat group.
Oh, I'm in the Nathan Oakley group. I didn't know that.
Yeah, man, you're in my gang.
That's how I came. That's how I came here.
I didn't know I was in Nathan Oakley's group. Well, that's
just
good
to set the
know.
record straight. If it's anybody's gang, it's probably John's gang. He's the surreptitious leader.
Okay, and then a lot of heliocentric debunkers and debaters. They have their different views on how things work. I'm not sure if you knew about that, but
Can I question, please?
I was just about to start the live show, but go ahead.
Yeah, just give me a minute. Let me just ask him. Phil, you came on and you mentioned about retrograde motion, and your question was, how was that explained on a flat Earth? I just want to ask you first, before, it's only a quick one, it'll pass quick. You do realize that there's no such thing as retrograde motion in the context of the solar system. The claim by science is that it's apparent retrograde motion. In this context, do you understand what apparent retrograde motion actually means?
no. Can you explain it for her?
Sure. It means that it might not actually be retrograde motion the way that it's told. It could be caused by something else completely. In other words, that there's no guarantees that this is caused by retrograde motion. In other words, they could be taking a completely different path, and from our perspective only, it appears to be retrograde motion, but it could be something else altogether, and we need a different perspective, a third perspective, to be able to see what's actually going on. Could you at least see that?
Interesting. I'm looking at the wiki page article and it says apparent grade motion. Just thought there'd be an explanation from that.
What
From
is it?
both
You look at the
sides.
wiki page and it says what?
Apparent grade retrograde motion. It says
Apparent
right there.
retrograde motion. It's like the apparent deflection with Coriolis.
If you plot out the movements, it would appear that it's going backwards. However, it appears earlier, if you like, in the night sky the following night. So it's an apparent movement. So if you were to track it out and then draw a line from all the dots, join up all the dots from each night, it appears to be going backwards relative to the other stars, not actually moving backwards, but relative to the other positions of the stars. But that's an apparent deviation or an apparent retrograde motion. Anyway, I'm going to start the live show.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum. But if you'd like to join this discussion right now, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Quantum Eraser, Slick James Johnson, Sleeping Warrior, Phil, Paul, Mac, King, Chocolate Sane, Arwin, and 10th Man. Very good to have you all.
Yo. Hello.
Hello.
Now,
Good morning.
if it's good by the panel, I'm happy to dispense with housekeeping on account of the fact that we've got a very good conversation going on about retrograde motion and what the stars in the sky actually prove. Are you all good to carry on with that conversation?
Yep.
To be honest, I thought the point was concluded when he accepted that when he looked it up on Wikipedia. My point was that it's claimed to be apparent retrograde motion rather than retrograde motion, because it's only from our perspective where it appears that planets appear to go backwards. But that doesn't mean that they are going backwards. It's from our perspective, meaning that the planets could be doing something else, or the lights in the sky could be doing something else, but it's just from our perspective. We don't know what's going on without a third perspective from perhaps, say, Mars or whatever. And he's kind of accepted that the phrase is apparent retrograde motion. I don't know, as far as I'm concerned, I think that the point might be closed.
Fair enough. It was summarised beautifully for the live show, so I'm happy with that. Right, let's do housekeeping then. Any signs of actual Earth curvature?
Nope.
I had something to say on that.
None at all.
On Earth curvature or retrograde motion?
On the retrograde motion.
Feel free.
Earth curvature.
I was late to the party here, so who asked the question?
Phil.
I did.
And who's I?
Phil?
What's up, Phil? I don't think we met before.
How's it
So
going?
the question was, did you ask us to explain retrograde motion? Was that what the motif?
No, it is retrograde motion seems to validate the heliocentric model, and I was just checking what Flat Earth had to say about that.
So
Or not
retrograde
flat Earth,
motion,
but non-ball Earth.
so retrograde motion seems to validate the heliocentric reification fallacy, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have scientific evidence for us?
Just observations.
We don't. Any idiot can observe. We need scientific validation of their fallacy.
Okay.
That's what we need.
If
As
it's going
for
to
us,
be claimed as scientific, though.
as for us,
If he's just
I mean,
talking,
I
then
never.
he's just talking.
Hold on a second, Arwin. I
Yeah.
thought I was still talking.
Can
As
this not
for
be a
us,
debate?
oh God, just go ahead. You can go ahead and speak for me. Go ahead, no problem. Clowns.
Well, anyway, I mean, it's just through observations and predictions where the certain stars are going to be.
Observation and predictions. What prediction? Is it a scientific prediction?
I guess, sure.
I guess. Do you have a hypothesis? Because that's what a scientific prediction is.
Hypothesis of where stars are going to go.
Listen, it's not my claim, it's yours. What's your hypothesis that proves or validates the heliocentric reification fallacy? Or model, same thing. So there are no predictions. No scientific predictions. You may have a Mystic Meg prediction or a post-diction. You may have one of those. I don't know if any flat earthers on the panel brought up the subject of retrograde motion. I know I don't. I mean, I don't have explanations
anybody?
for things I don't make claims for. I didn't make a claim for it. That's why I was asking the panel who claimed retrograde motion.
Nobody.
Yeah. So why are you asking us? Go ask the Baltards about their retrograde motion, and then ask them what's their scientific evidence that validates their heliocentric reification fallacy.
We did actually cover this on the last show. It wasn't broadcast and you weren't here, so you wouldn't know this. But we actually went through how this is used as a heliocentric proof, and Phil was kind enough to beg the question and assume his outcome in his example. And we pointed that out to him, and he did actually concede it. He's actually been a really nice guest so far.
Well, I'm sorry I missed that part. Please
It's
forgive
fair
me.
enough. It's fair enough. I just don't want him to get the same punishment twice, especially as he conceded.
I'm not trying to punish him. I'm just trying to listen. I'm just listening to the words he's saying. He's talking about predictions and models. I mean, I don't know. Have you been keeping up to date on the flat Earth debate?
Yes, and there's different. A lot of flat earthers will point out different reasons why. Sometimes it goes with they tend to magnetic correspondence of sound waves, the way motions.
I'm a
make
flat
sound
earther,
waves.
and I've never made that claim before. Be careful about stereotyping, right? Because that's a fallacy too. And then you get into big trouble because the next words out of your mouth are either going to be a straw man or an argument from ignorance fallacy. Or a baseless assertion, one of the three. So try not to use fallacies.
Yeah, I covered that.
If you have a specific guy on this panel that said something about retrograde motion, that's a different story. But a lot of flat earthers or a lot of this or a lot of that, that's a stereotype fallacy. I don't play that game.
Well, then some flat earthers.
Well, then go find the some that did and find out their explanation, because I never made no nonsensical claims like that. And I'm a flat earther. In fact, I'm a flat, non-spinning,
heliocentric deniers.
I'm a flat, non-spinning, domed Earth, young Earth creationist. In fact, now, if you got any points with that, we could talk about.
No.
Okay. Sorry about that, Nathan. Sorry for interrupting. Please
it's
forgive
fine.
me.
Reiterating my point, I'm never going to stop that. That's fine. Originally,
So
your
go
point
ahead.
anyway.
So go ahead with your show,
due.
sir.
Go ahead, Anthony.
I'm not sure where I'm at. We were going through housekeeping, weren't we? What I'd like to do, I'd like to present some flat Earth supporting evidence, given that we get criticised for not having our own evidence. There's more than enough evidence for the Earth being not a sphere. And we can indeed support the assertion that it appears to be, well, flat. I don't like saying that it's flat because I realise I have to then prove it's flat everywhere. But I'm happy that it's flat where I live. That doesn't mean it's flat everywhere. I accept, but I can demonstrate flatness where I live, and I'm fine with that. So what I'm going to present...
Oh, boy.
Wrong one. That again.
You want presenting?
Pardon?
You need me to present to you?
Yes, please.
Yeah, you're on.
So basically, what's happened is Sly Sparkane put out a challenge for me and Ranty to join him on a hangout last night, and I refused because basically Sly, he back in the day when we started doing the Isle of Man stuff, my original video, that's the highest viewed video on my channel with 135,000 views, asked this question. It said, "What the F is this land here?" Because at the time, it appeared to me to be floating, and it was described as floaty land or dirty air or whatever. And we were trying to work out what this thing is. And it was taken from an elevation position that was alongside some caravans. And let me just get back to this bit here, because it shows where it was. And all I did was I showed where I was so that people really couldn't argue where I was. But what they did argue was what height this was at. And this went back and forth for ages. On Google Earth, it was quoted at about 35 feet. Turns out to be, I think it was 47 or 49 feet at this point. And it's really not a big deal at this point. The challenge was made by Sly Sparkane to go and repeat this observation from the beach. So I did. I went back and I repeated the same observation from the beach. So what you need to point or what you need to be aware of is what I can see here. Now you can see that these two peaks are the two mountains that are here. And then you can see that the land drops off and then it appears to drop into the water. And that appears to be where it stops. And then we see that there's a gap where the water is. And then we see that there's more land here. And this land turns out to be Isle of Man. Now, at the time, the question that I asked was, what is this land? Okay. So asking the question, there is a question mark there. It is a question. So Slice of Arcane challenged me to go back and get the same footage because basically he did not accept that this was possible from ground level because he doesn't believe we live on a sphere. So I went back and I got the same footage from the beach. Now you can just about see, I'm going to play this video because you can see that I don't initially identify, I don't recognize the land I'm looking at. I can't recognize the contours. So I have to pan over to the left because I don't recognize this. And I identify something that I recognize, which would be, this is North Barul, the mountain at North Barul. Snaefell's just off to the left. But now I know where I'm at. I can follow it down and it comes into the water like the nose cone and then drops into the water the way it did do on the previous video, right? So I know where I'm at. If what I saw was land, I should now go across an expanse of water and then I should come across the land again. And what do you know? When I go across the land, go across the expanse of water, I find the same set of land. Now, granted, it's squashed and it's faint, but it's definitely there. There's definitely land in the imagery. Now, this was taken lay on my belly on the beach, and I'll prove that in a sec at the end of the clip. But there's the land in question. So it's not possible to get this footage from the beach. And it's not even possible to get it from the elevation when I first took the footage. So when Sly challenged me to go back and get the same footage from the beach, and I then go and do that, the least he can do is acknowledge that we are actually seeing the land. Now, Sly obviously now claims, he backtracks and he goes, oh, well, it's not actually the land you're seeing, it's a mirage. Well, we've all seen the weatherman say, what you see here is a mirage. No, this is not a mirage. We are seeing the land. It's exactly the same way that we saw it before. It's not a mirage. But he insists that it's a mirage. So what I'm now going to show is what is a mirage in this context. Same patch of land, different day, different weather conditions, but this is a mirage. We're looking at the point where the
hold on. Can you just make it full? Can you just make it full screen? Perfect.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's great.
So this is the this is on my channel. And it's, will the real looming please stand up? This is not looming. I'm only asking the question to stimulate conversation. But on this particular day with weird weather conditions, this is what is a mirage. There's the two peaks again. So we're looking from this part that was just on screen then, and we're going to follow it down, and it'll drop into the water like a nose cone of a front end of a plane. And so we'll know that we're looking at the same amount, at the same area. But what I'm looking at here is this band of like messy air. So we've got the land that's coming down now. We can see that there's a band that's on the lower part, but it's taking up quite a high proportion of the image. We can see that there is something at the bottom there. And as the land drops into the ocean or drops into the sea, we can see that for some reason, something else is happening. And now the land doesn't drop into the sea anymore. There appears to be lines going across where we know that there is actually water. This is a mirage. I don't know really what's going on here, but look what's happening. The land that comes back in is only represented in the mirage, but there's no land at the bottom for some reason. That's where the land really is. But for some reason, it's being manifest on top of it. Notice that it's not upside down in this image. Normally a mirage is upside down, but whatever's really going on in this image is this is a mirage of some kind. I don't know what it's called. I don't know what causes it. It's just something that I'm seeing on this particular day. And Sly claims that what I originally saw when I went to the beach is a mirage. Well, I think everybody will agree with me that what I'm actually looking at here is actually a mirage because it's duplicating or it's I don't know what's going on here. All I can say is that this is a different day, different weather conditions, and I can see the land clearly here in the top image, but not in the bottom image. I don't know why. So this is really a mirage, Sylvester. What you're claiming is a mirage in the video that I got back when I went back to the beach is not a mirage because it matches the land that we saw before, but it also it's just been compressed for some reason, which, can I just point out, doesn't appear in the curve calculators for this so-called curvature of the Earth. There is no compression aspect. And this is obviously an effect of perspective that's omitted, that the ball has refused to acknowledge and accept is something to do with what we see. Perspective, the way our eyes sees things. This is what we're actually seeing. This is land. It's not a mirage. I've shown you what a mirage is. This is land, and Sly will not accept it. However, this is supposed to be 700 feet behind the curve of the Earth. So if the Earth's a sphere, this is not possible to be seen, right? It's not possible. So lay on my belly on the beach. I can see this land 700 feet behind the apparent curve, the claimed curve. There is no curve. This is impossible on a sphere. I can see for 34 miles, and I can see lay on my belly at the beach. I can see land that shouldn't be seen because of the geometry of the Earth. We're not living on a ball. This proves it. Sly will not accept that it's land. Insists that it's a mirage. I've shown what a mirage is. It's not a mirage. This is the land. It's impossible on a sphere. And I'll just finish this video by showing what happens to demonstrate the point that I am lay on my belly at the beach. And the dog walks in front of the camera right towards the end of this clip. I turn off the contrast, which is here. I turn off the contrast and I turn off the effects so that we can enhance what we're looking at. You'll see the dog's walking in front of the camera now. And then as I zoom out, I mean, this wasn't even on a good visibility day either. This wasn't perfect conditions. This is just a day. So there's the level of the camera, and you can see as I pick it off the floor, it's on that little mound of dirt. That was my tripod. Now, people like the Rumpus tell people that I was like 10 feet above the water there. Well, even if I mean, it's preposterous to assert that I'm 10 feet above the water there. I mean, look how far away these people are, and they're children, and they're about 4 feet tall, and I am not 4 feet above them. But notice as well that they are below the horizon, which is interesting. They're all below the horizon. Perspective. But look, you can make your own mind up how low this was. I'll give you a foot, but I'm not giving you any more than a foot. And it's preposterous to allege that it's 10 feet. But we can see 34 miles, and it should be gone behind the curve of the Earth. And Sly will not accept it. So that's flat Earth proof for me. That proves to me that we are not living on a sphere, because you can't see that land that I got at that level of viewing. So I just wanted to present that, because people forget about these things if we don't keep drumming it. We can demonstrate that the Earth's not a sphere, and we don't have to demonstrate that it's flat. And that footage does prove that the Earth cannot be spherical, because it's not a mirage, Sly.
I have something to point out.
Yeah.
Here in the Scientific American, it says what causes a mirage, and it says the perfect ideal conditions for mirage are still air on a hot sunny day over a flat surface.
I'm not sure we can quote from Scientific American anymore, because what it says in Scientific America, apparently it means the opposite. Fight the Flat Earth thinks that he's got a position on me, which is basically he thinks that I've got the opposing position of what it actually says in a Scientific American article written by a guy called Judge Musa. Literally, it says one thing, but it means apparently the opposite. So I'm not sure we should use a citation from Scientific American unless Fight the Flat Earth accepts that what's written in Scientific American is actually what it means. I'm happy to accept it, but just be aware
what
that
Fight the Flat Earth has to say about that. And Georgie Porgy, if you're listening out there, I'll tell you what, I can't wait for you to stick your little toe in this argument, brother, because me and you got a meeting. Okay? Thanks.
So wait, so did Fight the Flat Earth ever set up that interview with that guy, or is he still missing in action?
No, he's not. He has. It seems that he has done it. He's done a teaser video on his channel in the last 24 hours, and he does show that he is in conversation with a guy that does look a little bit like the guy. I'm happy to accept that it is George Musa himself, but for some reason he won't release it until like May the 20th, and I'm like, it's weird, because if it was me, and if it was Sly or Sean or GeoStreamer or any of the other normal people that are in this discussion, it'd be the first thing that you would do and release it once you've got it. But for some reason, he appears to be very.
He won't release it till when?
May the 20th.
May the 20th.
I don't know why.
It's not even.
He's
What?
being told not to by someone, as if he's perhaps paid by someone to not do it. I don't get why he would do that.
Well, maybe he's gonna time it with some kind of event or something. It's for
Okay,
advertising.
I would like to summarise the actual disagreement. So there is an assertion by Anthony made that the pseudo-Riemannian four space used in Einstein's mathematics is somehow derived from the Euclidean three space mathematics that is used in Newtonian. So this is just a done deal already, as far as I'm concerned. I know we talked about this earlier, Anthony, but the one does not mathematically work in the other. It's just as simple as that. You are right, and Craig is wrong. One is not derived from the other. The mathematics don't work.
So let me just particularize that.
That's not the point. Georgie Porgy is going to come out here, right? And he's going to contradict himself. I have no problem with that. He not only did it in that article, but other articles. That's the point.
He might.
I'm sorry, I was
he's going to have to move. He'll have to move the goalposts.
I don't think he actually does. He even do live streams or just upload videos?
All right, Nathan, put me back on screen. I'll present what the argument is.
Okay.
We've cited this article from Scientific American, written by a guy called George Musa, who wrote on November the 1st, 2015. He wrote about Einstein. And what he says in his article, now Craig's position prior to me citing this article is that Einstein added to, he kind of refined or supported or made it more precise, but he didn't. My position is that Einstein replaced it. It's that simple. And in this article, I cite from this frequently, and Craig says that I misunderstand what's written. And it reads, for instance, Einstein created his theory of general relativity with the express purpose of expunging non-locality from physics. That bit's not contentious. It's this bit that's the contentious bit. Musa writes that Isaac Newton's gravity acted at a distance as if by magic, and general relativity snapped the wand in two by showing that the curvature of space-time and not an invisible force gives rise to gravitational attraction. Now, the problem is, Craig says that I've misinterpreted this. So I then presented a secondary article by George Musa again, then 3, 4, and 5 from Brian Cox, Caltech, and an article, a documentary from a BBC, I think it might have been BBC, some TV program that demonstrated the same point 5 times. I've got 5 citations saying that he replaced Newtonian principles. But Craig thinks that I've misinterpreted what's written here. So Craig's position is that somehow I've misinterpreted what he says. Now, when it says general relativity snapped the wand in two by showing that the curvature of space-time and not an invisible force gives rise to gravitational attraction, I think the only angle that Craig's got is to argue that just because it's not an invisible force doesn't mean it's not a force. Because that's the only word where I can see wiggle room. But the context of what's actually written, he's comparing general relativity and the magic of Newtonian principles. He snaps that magical wand in two. That's what it literally says. I can't see how it's been misinterpreted. If it has been misinterpreted, he's going to have to move the goalposts, because George Musa has either written an article that is basically ambiguous to what he intended the reader to read, or it means what it says, that he snaps the wand in two.
Just to add a bit of conjecture, that was where John piped up a second ago. So John's opinion is that George is going to contradict himself. Is that right, John?
Sorry, man, I'm eating breakfast. No, I'll get you in a couple minutes.
Well, while John's eating, let me just think. There's 3 things that can happen, right? The interview doesn't do what he should be dealing with, right? So he has got the interview, but Craig asked me to give him the 5 points in a video. So I did. I made him a video with 5 specific points. And I said, I want you to present these 5 points to Musa and take him through each of the 5 and explain how they're all wrong. Because if what Craig argues, my misinterpretation, if that's correct, then the other 4 leading citations against Musa have got to be addressed, because they're all leading the same point. So I've asked him to address them points in his interview. So Craig will either have the interview and then obfuscate the point within the interview so that the point never gets addressed, or he will have the interview, do what he should have done, which is address the 5 points in the video that I made him. And then Musa's then got to do one of 2 things: either contradict himself, which he's not going to do. He's not going to commit professional suicide by contradicting himself for Craig.
I agree.
Or he's going to have to move the goalposts and somehow wiggle out of what he's written here. Isaac Newton's gravity acted at a distance as if by magic, and general relativity snapped the wand in two by showing that the curvature of space-time, and this is the most damning part, and not an invisible force. Well, Newton's force was an invisible force. Now, whether you attribute it to magic or not is kind of conjecture. It's interpretation, but it's these words, not an invisible force. So he's got to move. He's got to find some wiggle room. So he's not going to commit professional suicide, but he has to wiggle it. He's got to wiggle. He's got to squirm his way around the word in here to try and change what he says and what he means, because he's got Caltech and he's got Brian Cox and another article written by himself and another article all supporting the association, which is that Einstein superseded what's it called, Newton. But let me just show you this one before we disappear off this topic, before we come to John. If we go to the definition of space-time according to Wikipedia, look what it actually says in this. I'll have to do a search for the word. Superseded, the word is. There we go. So in the definition for it's a lot further down here than I actually thought it was. Maybe it's at the top. No, all right, okay. So in the definition for space-time, when we go down in the Wikipedia article, it literally says in black and white. In addition, Einstein. Oh shit! It's maybe not the right one. Hang on. Maybe I've got the wrong one here. Hang on. I'm sure it was in the early couple of paragraphs. I'll have to come back to it. I did this on ad hoc. John, have you finished eating?
Yeah, I'm just about there. I don't see the problem here. George Mustard comes out here. He's through. He is through. I can't. I'm hoping. I'm pining for him to come out here. We need him out here. There is no way that he can walk around this issue. It's plain. It's apodictic in his article, right? Everyone that's involved in this or has any idea of Einstein and Newtonian gravity knows this prima facie. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. Just read the passage that he says, right? How is he going to get out of that?
So when you look at the definition of, am I still on, Nathan?
Why do we have to look up definitions? Not an invisible force, space-time, not an invisible force gives rise to gravitational attraction. It's over.
Yeah, I agree. And Nathan, are we still on?
Oh, I was on mute. Sorry. Yes, you are.
So when you type in general relativity, which is Einstein's model, right? General relativity generalizes special relativity and supersedes Newton's law of universal gravitation. The word he uses is supersedes, which is my position. That's what I'm saying Craig misunderstood and doesn't get. Einstein didn't add to or furnish or support or refine. He superseded it. Literally says it in his own definition. So what Musa's now got to do is he's got to cleverly, cunningly manipulate these words to get wiggle room. Because I accept that there's an interview. I think he's probably obfuscated the point so that the interview doesn't close with the point that he should be closing with. Or he's got to do wiggle room. He's got to create obfuscation within the words to get round the idea that basically the curving of space-time is what's supposed to be the current science for gravity. But the problem is, if it is the curvature of space-time for gravity, then what's holding the atmosphere onto the Earth to stop it from bursting into space because of the pressure? Because there's got to be some kind of force, right? But Einstein's gravity isn't a force. It's a mathematical concept. So if we can establish that Einstein did replace and supersede and snap the wand from Newton, then you guys are fucked when it comes to the pressure, because you need a force to keep the gas pressure on the Earth. But if it's mathematical by concept, there's no explanation for why we have an atmosphere on your model, because you can't apply Newtonian principles if Einstein replaced it with a bit of maths. That's why it's important.
These Fargan bastages have been screwed for about 3 years. Ever since they came out, they've been screwed. They're too stupid to even know it. But that's all right, Georgie Porgy. I want you coming out here. Me and you got a meeting, brother. Thanks.
Well, he's not going to get enthralled into it, but I have to be honest, credit's got to be given to Craig, Fight the Flat Earth, for getting an actual written, a published scientist in a conversation, because that's really good. Kudos for getting it, because I didn't think he would. What he's done in the interview is a different point. But also, credit's got to be given to George Musa himself, because to be challenged by people on our side is really good for the community itself. because these guys are accountable. This is peer review. It is on topic. We're not being personal. We're challenging the citation that he's presented, and we've got to credit the guy for coming on and being accountable. However, let's look and see how does he get out of this, because he is cornered. He's got to move the goalposts, or he's got to not agree with Craig, or between him and Craig, they've got to obfuscate the point so that they never get the point concluded whether or not Einstein did supersede Newton principles for gravity. It's going to be one of them three, but either way, they're all knackered. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm definitely not sweating.
Any chance you can bring up Google Earth, Anthony?
Well, they're still fucked anyway because they still can't prove the force regardless.
Yeah, but this is all to do with Craig's ego, and it's whether or not Craig's interpreted what he thinks Musa said correctly or not. I mean, it's
His
quite
ego.
clear as far as all.
He couldn't pass 5th grade general science. Neither could Musa.
No.
So ego.
Well,
Come on,
that's
come on,
interesting, 'cause,
guys.
I mean-
Come on, guys. He measures the distance of the sun when he's bored. Okay.
Unbelievable.
So, to be honest, right, Nathan, I've got it up. What would you like?
Okay, so if you can get to Pontchartrain.
Huh?
So I'll give this a little bit of an introduction while Anthony's doing this. So on one of the debates, I think it was the end of an after show, John brought up Lake Pontchartrain and pointed out that on one side of the shore, this map shows 0, there or thereabouts, and on the other side of Lake Pontchartrain, the map shows 0. Now it is asserted by our adversaries on the globe side of this argument that there is a measurable drop from this position at this side of the lake, calculable in a curve calculator. Now, if this is the case, you would expect to see a drop. Their counter to this argument is that a curved surface is always referencing 0. It's measured to the centre of the Earth. This is their response. That's my intro done.
Yeah, they think they live on a level curve. Globetards, do you even know what your religion is?
So
Is
if you
there a
ma-
globetard on the panel?
There isn't, but I would like 10th Man to just pipe up. Are you there, 10th Man? Probably not. Terrible timing.
Okay. Let me take this out.
Go ahead.
It seemed when I presented that, it was just off the cuff. You know, I was just screwing around one night, and I think it was last week, and somebody said something about Soundley's Causeway Bridge, and I said, you know what? You take a look at Lake Pontchartrain. I want to look at each shoreline where the north side and the south side of the bridge. So I said, let me take a look at this. Of course, I already knew what was going to happen, right? The elevation levels at the north side was 1 to 3 feet, and the elevation at the south side was 1 to 3 feet. So, and the question is, if the bridge is curving, that is dropping, you understand this, globetards, what your religion says. Every point along a tangent from your feet drops away from you at 8 inches per mile squared. That is vertical drop. Do you understand that? I don't think you do. You don't live on a level curve. So
Yeah, it's in the calculator, but they don't understand it. It says drop.
They think they live on a level curve or something. And a couple days later, I got some serious blowback. I'm getting messages from people I haven't heard from in years saying, ha, 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 boy, that was really stupid, QE. That was really stupid. I'm sitting there, what are you talking about? And they brought this up. I'd already forgotten about it, right? But there's more people bringing it up. Roofy did on Arwen's show yesterday. I didn't catch that. Thanks for giving me that video. We're going to go over that here in a couple minutes.
It was good, wasn't it?
But since you ever hear of a tell, you know what a poker tell is? Clown shows.
Yeah, it's when you raise your eyebrow without realizing it.
Exactly. So you could have just been quiet. I would have forgotten about it. I would have just moved on. However, since you brought this subject to the fore and are causing a big brouhaha over it. I'm going to spend the next 8 weeks on it and show it what retards you actually are. So, Anthony, do you have this? Do you have it up, or do you want me to do it?
He's got it up at the moment, so the public can see the Pontchartrain Bridge in Google Earth, which is good enough. I think he's disappeared actually away from his computer for a moment, but we have got Pontchartrain on screen.
All right. Can he show the elevation levels? I mean, we don't really have to do it. You know, the elevation level at one shoreline is 1 to 2 feet, and the other shoreline, 25 miles away, is 1 to 3 feet. So they're the same elevation. So how can you have a flat curve? You understand this, crayon munchers?
So if you can
Please
just do
explain that to us.
If you can zoom out enough so that the keep zooming out, and then you'll get the feet in the bottom corner. At the moment, we just can't see it below where it says Google Earth. See that, Anthony?
Me? Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I'm hoping we can get it on screen because we couldn't last time. But if you can zoom out of the actual window size or reduce the size of the window.
I don't think that'll work.
Really? That's it. There you go. It's on screen, or it was for a second.
It's to do with the. Can you see it now?
Yeah, that'll do. Just about.
Yeah. So you want to see it here, don't you, on the ramp?
Yeah. And then if you can hover your mouse over the elevations, people will have to zoom right in. It's still tiny, obviously.
Saying 3 and 4 feet. 5 feet at the top.
And then if you go to the other side, if you can just go to the other side.
But don't forget, we know that when we did the Isle of Man stuff, that you can add 50 meters onto this. That's like 150 feet, because that's what it says. That Google Earth
Don't
is
worry about
inaccurate
that. Don't worry about that. We're going off mean sea level. Go to the other side of the bridge.
Yeah, he's there now.
And
5, 6.
So the shoreline is what?
There's about 6 feet above.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
above 0.
you got a problem because point A and point B, 25 miles apart, are basically essentially the same elevation, globetards. Did you forget your religion? If the bridge is curving, it has to have drop. Drop means vertical relief. You know, drop vertical, and that things don't drop horizontally. Okay? So we're going to stay on here for the next 8 weeks. So do you guys got anything to follow this up? Because I want to share my screen here in a couple minutes.
Yeah, sure. I mean, go ahead, Anthony.
Is it right that we do this without any baller hitting here, or should I play the part of the baller? Because I do know their argument for this.
Be Johnny Globetard. There's 2 gaps on the panel if a Glober wants to dispute this. There's been a fair bit of blowback. I would expect somebody to want to join, given that there's a link to the public and we're discussing it right now.
I don't mind making their point badly for them.
Go ahead.
John, you understand that level's not the same as flat, right?
Really? Level doesn't equal flat?
Oh, I heard Tim Osman. I heard a clip of Tim Osman talking about this. He was ridiculing you. And he was basically asserting the point that flat is not the same as level. It's flat on a flat plane, but on a sphere it's level because it's relative to the center of the center of the sphere.
That's a married bachelor. Level and flat, or level and curve, are mutually exclusive. Any retard knows this.
Yeah, we really need a baller because I don't feel comfortable. We need a baller because I don't feel comfortable being this stupid. I can be all stupid on my own. I don't need to be a ball tad to be stupid.
You're gonna get raked over to coals. Thanks a lot. Is my screen up?
You're on, yeah.
Yeah, Merriam-Webster: level, flat, plane, even, smooth means having a surface without bends, curves, and irregularities. Are you seeing this, ball tarts? You understand this? See, level and flat and curve are mutually exclusive. They're not the same thing. Let's define drop for you, since you forgot about your religion. So, drop, to fall vertically, have an abrupt descent. From Oxford dictionaries, let or make something fall vertically. Drop. Height, altitude, from Merriam-Webster. Height, altitude, elevation mean vertical distance. You guys understand this? see the connection yet? Any fluoride mainliners out there? So, Roofy
No,
yesterday.
it's just Earth curve, man. It's just Earth curve. Everything's Earth curve.
Oh, wait a second. Roofy yesterday on Arwen's show. Get a load of this. Roofy.
Roofy.
This is what Roofy, Ruhif, the one that ran away when he got challenged about his fairy tale evolution. Yeah, I haven't forgot about that. But let's go with this. Roofy. This is what he says. So you understand that an area with the same elevation is a curved surface. I mean, this is beyond ICD-10 F72 code.
Did he really say that?
Yes, he did. And he said this. Sea level is a curve. So Roofy
that's their religion,
and all
isn't it?
the spinning baltards lives on a level curve. That's what this is. This is what this is boiled down to. I mean, this is so retard. It's almost impossible to encapsulate in language.
Hey, Ranty, how you doing? Good to have you.
Yeah.
To me, it just shows desperation. It just shows me that they're that desperate that they're willing to literally change the meaning of words in order for these words to fit their narrative. It's really
I can
pathetic,
agree.
to tell you the truth.
If you actually tell them about Bissell planes, their head's going to explode.
Yeah, we don't need to worry about that. We're going to spend the next 8 weeks on this.
Because the Bissell plates, they cover more than 50% of the Earth's surface, and they're flat.
Is level curve?
In their model, yes.
I mean, these are married bachelors.
I just got to make a slight correction. Sorry, Ranty. You said in their model it is. Well, no, it's not actually. In this Google Earth model, it shows that it's flat.
Yeah, it's height above the sea level, but they say that the level of the water is level, but it's not flat, it's curved. So it's something that it is difficult to understand. It's something that I had this with the Globers about 2 years ago, and we went back and forth for such a long time over it that I had to understand that this is what they believe. This is what they believe. This is what their model shows, and the only way you can disprove, or well, in my opinion, the only way you can do it is by actually doing like a 3-mile test or something next to water, where you can physically observe whether or not there is an actual drop or not. But yeah, that is their model, mate. I mean, it's just the way it is. They will say that all water is being pulled to the center of the Earth, and it will still be the same height above sea level from 20 miles at a different position. It will still be 1 foot or 2 foot above actual sea level. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's flat or curved.
But by definition, it does. But by definition, it's what they're describing is flat. If they say it's not below the same level, because that's what you would necessitate for it to be curved. A drop.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying. You said you wanted somebody to come in and say their side of the argument, and literally, this is their argument, and in my opinion, I have to say that I can see where they're coming from on this particular
point. Where they're coming from, so you're going to show us how a bachelor can.
No, I'm not going to show you anything.
Please go ahead.
I actually want to do some observations that disprove this notion.
Wait a second. We don't need any observations. Is level curve?
In their model, yes.
Well, right, that's reification fallacy. Who cares?
What I was going to say earlier was ask 10th man, but he dropped just as I was asking him to go through the law of non-contradiction again.
That's right. This is a law non-contradiction violation. They're holding two mutually exclusive thoughts or concepts together as true at the same time. This is so far beyond moron. I don't know. I don't know.
Isn't this what Craig's doing?
Contradiction.
Isn't this what Craig's doing when he believes that Einstein supported Newton when actually everybody else says that he replaced Newton?
I don't know.
I think that's just stupidity.
Oh, okay.
This is beyond stupidity right here, folks. So we're going to stay here because this is such a simple proof that they're crayon munching morons. You can't get around this. Level and curve. They don't know what their religion states. They keep on forgetting about this. Every point along a tangent from your feet drops That's a vertical drop away from you at 8 inches per mile squared. Did you guys forget about that? So we're going to just stay, we're going to drop anchor right here.
Drop means curve too, and flat and everything. Everything is curved, Johnny. Johnny, go ahead. You don't know that?
Hey, we can stay here since we're on Soundly. Tickle me soundly, doll. Why don't we just stay here and talk about the power lines?
Yeah, let's do it. It's on screen. I've got you up, so why not?
Yeah, I pummeled those the second day it came out. Let's go. Let's take a look at these here. If I got, oh, there we go. So we have, this is from Johnny Oops, right? This is his picture. Look how, this is the same angle, or pretty much the same angle Soundly had. So let's take a look at this. I want to make sure you guys see it. So you see these power lines right here? The 3 power lines? Look at it. Everyone see that?
Yeah. The one's going off into the distance with perspective.
Where are you? Okay, here's Soundly's. So you guys see the same 3 power lines? This is from a slightly different angle. It shows curve. It looks like there's some curve here that the power lines are going over the curve of the earth, right? That's what it shows. Of course, Johnny Oops say, well, where's that curve at? Don't see it. What's up with that? Same 3 power lines. I don't know if this is coming through on yours, Nathan.
Yeah,
but
it's coming through.
3 power lines.
Yeah, it's coming through.
Right, so let's take a look at this. So the total distance of these power lines over Lake Pontchartrain are 15.9 miles. Per Soundly, the viewer height was 35 to 50 feet. So let's just break it. We'll go right down the middle. Let's say his observer height was 40 feet. The distance between each pylon is 0.18 miles. So approximately 88 pylons. So I counted 40 pylons in Soundly's now infamous P900 shot. That's roughly 7 miles with some significant curvature. So let's take a look at this. Louisiana length north to south is 379 miles. Orleans Parish. Now, if you're not familiar with the word parish, that's a county. You know, if you're in the United States, that means county. If you're in England, I can't help you. Orleans Parish is 350 square miles. If these pics and video are true, then we must live on planet Orleans Parish. You freaking clowns. Furthermore, according to your spilling bong narrative, here we go again. Every point along a tangent from your feet falls away from you in every direction at 8 inches per mile squared. There it is again. So the horizons at 7 miles from 90 degrees through 0 to 270 degrees is 21.5 miles. So what they're essentially saying here is that we see significant curvature on the z-axis or the z-axis, which is at 7 miles. But along the x-axis, which is 21.5 miles, it's flat. No curvature. I mean, are you guys snorting angel dust lace shrooms or something? To remain coherent with Soundly's z-axis, the x-axis has to look like this. You see this, Soundly, you crayon muncher? This is the same curve as you got on the z-axis. That's what we should be seeing on the x-axis. It's just that simple. For crying out loud. Do you need any more gasoline tankers with your flamethrowers? We'll stop right there. Any comments?
No, it's the old age-old, what we're observing is only ever going along one axis and follows the lines of perspective, linear perspective, of things getting smaller into the distance, alleged to be things going over the curve of the Earth. However, you look on the y-axis and nothing's happening.
Yep.
Flat.
How can that be? That's a contradiction, right? There's another contradiction right there. There's contradictions everywhere. They can't say more than 2 sentences without the first one contradicting the second one, right? And then they laugh like morons. Well, come on in here, globetards. Give us the best of the best, and please explain to us how level equals curve.
It's a contradiction in terms.
Google Earth doesn't agree with you. Is that your model? Give us a model to where we have 8 inches per mile squared. That means points falling away from you from a tangent from your feet. Physical vertical drop. Because that's what your religion says.
I'd just like to point out that there is no level curve, there is no drop, and all effects that are claimed to be so are merely the effects of optics and perspective. Hijacked and called Earth curve.
Indeed, Nathan. The one thing I would say is that, I kind of conceded this argument to them because it works on both. If you had a model for flat Earth, it would work on both. That's all I'll say, is that, using this particular notion that you can measure on one side of Pontchartrain to the other and say you're 4 feet above sea level and it's level, and their model would say that that's just the shape of the Earth, and our model just says...
And their model can't say that.
Yeah, I know that.
That's the point, Granty.
It's their point.
Their model says it's flat.
That's the Google model. Now, if they have another model, go ahead and bring it on. We're going to wait here for you. We want to see your model. Your reification fallacy. Go ahead and post it.
Well, yeah, if Timmy's in, Timmy's one for this, or Soundly, would they join, do you think?
Yeah.
Maybe if whatever...
Yeah, go ahead, join.
Whatever sock account they used to comment on would like to say.
Have one of their slobber nurses hook them up to the internet. I mean, this is I don't even know why I have to go over this. Why do we even have to? We're staying here. I'm dropping anchor here.
I'll answer that. It's not rhetorical. So why? Well, because this immediately gets met with a hand wave dismissal and over-the-top ridicule, what you call a tell.
Yep. This is the end of their fairy tale right here. We don't even have to talk about anything else. This ends.
That picture drop. I mean, you could just observe it and just say that that curve is too much, and it would contradict the mathematical circumference of what they state.
That's what I just said. Planet Orleans Parish.
Yep.
Yep. But they claim they have a model that matches. Let's see it. I have yet in 3 years to see their model. I've been hearing about it a lot. What is it? A runway model? A computer model? An architecture model? A toy model? Which model is that?
I'll answer that as well. They don't have a model. There is no globe Earth model. This all-encompassing perfect model that works always doesn't exist.
Yeah, if you guys think this is stupid, hold on, I'm feeling my notes. If you guys think that's stupid, watch this. Let's take a look at something here. Okay. Hold it. You guys see this?
Get my crucifix. Evil be gone.
You guys see my little globe here?
Yeah, we got it.
Evil be gone.
I want you to try to focus on this. Get the Adderall drip up. So, and all the newbies out there, what these globetards are saying is, if you were in this position, if you were this far away from the sphere, right, and you had a camera that had unlimited zoom, right? What they're saying is that if you took a look over here is the Hawaiian Islands, right? Now, think of this. Take your time. If you pulled your camera and you started to zoom in on this point over here at 9 o'clock, and you kept on zooming and kept on zooming, there is no way around the fact that you would see this, and this, and this, and this, and this, right, and this, and this. There is no way around it, right? This is how stupid this stuff is. And
I've been waiting to see this for years. I've wanted to see a plane flying on its side from space for years, and it's just not going to happen.
That's right. There's no way around the fact, correct? Can somebody tell me if there's some type of way around the fact? Sorry about that. That if you were in this position, you can't be in this position because there is no vacuum of space, right? Second law of thermodynamics violation. There is no way around the fact if you had a zoom camera that if you started zooming in, there's no way around these facts. Does anyone have an argument with this?
No, if it was curving in all directions, it's curving in all directions. And if something's on the side of a ball relative to you on the top of the ball, then you're going to see it side on to the ball. That never happens because we're not on a ball or on a flat plane, and we will never experience these views or experience a ball Earth beneath us because there isn't one. It's not curving away in all directions, and any assertion that it is merely a hijacking of perspective.
It's funny because anytime I bring something up, Globals like to laugh at me when I say you guys believe that people are living upside down from you, antipodal from your position, because you live on a ball. And their response to that is always, well, relative to where they are, they're right side up. It's like, okay, but let's take John's example and say if you were this far away from this planet and you were looking at the Earth, there would be people sticking to the sides, sticking to the top, sticking to the bottom, upside down in every position because it's a ball. Do you baltards not understand that shit?
No, they don't get it. A first grader can evaluate this. This is what you must see. If you zoom in at 9 from your position to this 9 o'clock position, there is no way around it that you must see that. Can't get around it. That's how easy this is. That's how ridiculous this spinning baltard space monkey religion is.
And with that, I'll say if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. However, if you're watching this on the live Nathan Oakley stream, Nathan Oakley 1980 stream, then unfortunately this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of today's debating panel for making this show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in the live audience for tuning in, smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, subscribing, and all that good stuff. As I say, stay tuned if you're watching on the premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
All since he left Flat Earth?
I think he's still on Flat Earth. I don't think he's not Flat Earther.
What's his channel called?
Jake the Asshole.
Oh, I didn't know he kept it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's like the question is, can the moon landing site be seen from Earth? So if you type that in Google, do you know what the result says? Top one. As you're well aware,
can the moon landings what?
Can the moon landing site be seen from Earth?
Can it balls?
No, it can't. And it says, as you're well aware, no telescope on Earth can see the leftover descent stages of the Apollo lunar modules or anything else Apollo related. Not even the Hubble Space Telescope can discern evidence of the Apollo landing. The laws of optics define its limits. That
you
is
mean
awesome.
Sophia?
Yeah, that's from NASA themselves. I know that article.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
that
you mean
awesome...
Sophia, not Hubble. Not Hubble, Sophia.
Does that reference does that reference mean anything to everybody?
Sorry? Yeah, Sophia. I don't know what you guys. I don't know. Maybe there's some new people. Maybe I should be a little less critical. But you need to go back and watch Robert Bassano's video. His channel's still up. He's not around anymore. But he left. I asked him to leave all his videos up, and he did. He left his channel up. You guys need to go back there and start at the first video and go through about the first 30 of them. Because all these been answered 3 years ago.
Oh yeah, Robert Bassano.
How do you spell that?
Planete Veritas, I think his channel name is.
Planete Veritas. So.
Can you spell it out?
Planate and Veritas. Veritas. Planete Veritas. You're gonna run into a lot of great videos. He interviews, unbeknownst to these people, people at NASA, Fermilab, Sohu, and
no,
just
the reason I brought it up was because he's having an argument with this guy called Professor Stick or something, who's got like an awful lot of subscribers, like 500,000 subscribers. So
he's a moron, dude.
So they're having a back and forth about this. And this is one of the things that this Professor Stick believes that
I compromised him about 2.5 years ago. He's just like a baller.
Well, yeah, he's a baller, and he says that you can see the moon landing flag from Earth using a telescope.
What an idiot. I got into this back and forth right at the beginning with a guy I used to live with when I first left home when I was about 16. This guy called Robbie, and I hadn't spoken to him for years. And on Facebook, he basically made the same claim and said that he had been to Goonhilly on the south coast and seen with his own eyes the moon lander, what's it called, the rover, the lunar rover, through a telescope at Goonhilly. I was like, really? And he said, yeah, that's absolutely the case. I was like, great, okay, fine. So I phoned up Goonhilly. I'm like, I want to see this. Can I come and see it? And they're like, well, actually, we're under maintenance at the moment, and the whole place is closed down. I was like, well, I'd just like you to confirm that I could actually do this when you reopen. So I got a letter back from them explaining that pretty much the rhetoric you've just read out, which is to say, even if you used Hubble, you wouldn't be able to distinguish that 2 meter by 2 meter sized object on the moon. Even with Hubble, it's just not possible. Now, the concern I have now reiterating that narrative is you're immediately into begging the question that the moon landings actually took place, and it's just that we can't see the moon landings having taken place on the moon, whereas in reality, the whole thing's bollocks.
It's the term, the laws of optics define its limits.
Right.
In other words, it's too small to be seen.
Yeah, it's the diffraction limit of Hubble. It's 0.0005, I think, Hubble, and the diffraction limit is 0002, and that's how big the lunar rover actually is. So it's orders of magnitude too small for the diffraction limit of Hubble, according to this guy at Goonhilly, and way beyond the diffraction limit of an earthbound telescope. And according to him, I think he said there would never be one that would have that size of aperture and give you that diffraction limit. But yeah, it's absolutely what we're talking about in terms of the conflation of actual size and angular size. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, this is a perfect example to use against the globe heads when they say, "Oh yeah, well, it can still be seen. It's in the Earth curve calculator." We'll say, "Well, you've got a clear line of sight to the moon. How come we can't see the moon lander? How come you can't see the flag? How can't you see any evidence of this? You know, it's too small to be seen." That is the laws of perspective, because funnily enough, if you look up the laws of perspective, you know what the first thing that comes up? They don't have a wiki page for it or something. The laws, hang on, just let me put it in. The laws of perspective. The top one is from Reddit, and it says there are 2 different laws of perspective. The other law of perspective is the flat Earth version, which delves further into this whole vanishing point concept. That things will terminate at a certain position in your field of view. And it's like they're trying to debunk the term, the laws of perspective, in the terms of things getting too small to be seen. And that's on wikis, on the first page of Google, if you type in the laws of perspective. So Google are promoting that notion that it's a flat Earth term for things getting smaller in the distance and you won't be able to see them.
Can I ask, slightly off topic, when people click into YouTube and they click into a video, when you try and get down to the comments, do you get an absolutely fucking massive list of up next videos? You know, where they're going to show you like linked videos?
Yeah.
Massive. Like you have to scroll down and scroll down and scroll down on your wheel to get to the comments.
Yeah, on a PC, yes.
Right. I thought it was just me.
No, on a PC it's like that. It's not like on the iPad. I prefer to watch videos on the iPad for that reason. The consumption of YouTube is miles nicer on an iPad than it is on a PC.
Sorry, Ranty, carry on, sir.
No, that I'm just saying that was another interesting point, is that we always say the laws of perspective, and Google are basically saying that this law of perspective is a flat Earth version stating that the whole vanishing point concept, stating that the horizon is not the result of the Earth curving out of your field of view, but rather the terminator point in your field of view. So apparently now the laws of perspective is a flat Earth concept, right? Well, that's not true, because if you look up perspective, perspective says things getting smaller in the distance. How can it be a flat Earth concept?
It is to the Reddit writer, because in a lot of globeheads' minds.
Yeah, but what I mean is that's the top result in Google. It's literally spelt out before you even click on the link. It's literally, as you type in the laws of perspective, it pops up in that little box at the top. You know, normally it'll be top of the wiki page or from space.com or anything like that, but this is a Reddit thing that they've promoted at the top of the search bar.
I would say it's because I don't think perspective has been spoken about in this way ever. You know what I mean? Like this topic has made perspective very big, you know, in the heads of people.
But I was going to say,
and now it's like it's being equated to flat Earth. Well, yeah, right. I understand that, and I get that. But in relation to the
They don't
shape
talk
of
about
Earth,
moon landing in the art class.
right? Exactly.
But you can see this, Nate, can you? This I've just typed in the laws of perspective into Google, and it literally brings up a Reddit thing saying it's a flat Earth thing that says that it's not the horizon, that it's things get too small to be seen. And then if you go back one, and can the moon landing sites be seen from Earth? It says the law of optics define its limits, i.e., things get smaller in the distance. So,
right. Well, this is
that's adorable.
Well,
this
is
is
instead of an actual source.
yes, that's what I meant.
Well, the actual source it does exist online. So that's provable misinformation. Then
But you're right. This is a.
To me,
this is
all part of the scrambling.
Well, no, there's a contrast that Ranty's identified that is a useful thing to exploit. So they're constantly talking about angular size when they refer to the things in the sky, which is ultimately, I think Ebon Kim made this point, which is where they go all the time. All of their evidence is always in the sky. That guy, Phil, how you doing, Phil? First thing he does, go to the sky. That's just what they do. That's where their evidence lies. Well, everything they refer to is it's not actual size, but it's angular size. And when detailing whether or not we can see something in the distance, i.e. a claim of a solid moon with a bloody Range Rover on it, well, then it's too small to see. The angular resolution, the angular size, is all they're calculating. Well, that's a complete ignorance when it comes to the ground-based calculations. There's no account for angular size, but they all are aware of it because they're all using it all the time. So you just have to point that out to them. Well, you're well aware of angular size, not actual size. Well, when are you using it? Oh, in the sky. Well, what about on the ground? Why do you ignore it down here? Oh, it's because your geometric maths excludes it. And the Reddit guy seems to think that, oh, how dare they think that perspective is a reason for things getting smaller in the distance to the point where you can't see them anymore, as is absolutely the case. These flat earthers, crazy idiots. Don't they realise that we've only got one cause to assert, and it's Earth curve, and it excludes all of the factors? Well, they should know, because that's what we do. It's only ever Earth curve.
You've got it, Nate. Spot on. It's literally what I'm doing here is I'm showing the like John's trying to do. He's showing where they have terminologies for stuff and they'll use it for one thing and it means another. This is exactly the same, you know. But what's also useful is to see that Google are actually promoting it in this way, and how they're actually hijacking it and making it seem like we're lunatics by saying that a law of perspective is a flat Earth concept. How is it a flat Earth concept? That is perspective.
That's real world. It's from the observer. That's what perspective really, in its shortest, most concise word, it's from the observer's perspective.
If they want to dedicate that law to flat Earth, well, I'll take it.
I was going to say, I'll have it. Yes, please. Yeah, we appreciate that things get
I'll
smaller.
Take it. I'll take that.
Yeah, me too. I totally agreeing on. If that's what you want to tar me with, what? Understanding that things get smaller as you get further away from them. A concept that's taken the piss out of on Father Ted. Yeah, I'll take that. No worries.
Thank you, mate. Hey, what was it? Sir Nathan Oakley figured it out.
Sir Nathan Oakley?
You gotta put a sir in front of it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You gotta put a sir in front of it.
What, a commenter's just got a sock account with Sir Nathan Oakley on it?
No, do you remember when you saw Jeranism and he was talking about the Nar hole and he dedicated to Sir Nathan Oakley?
Oh, right, yeah. Yes, I do. That was very amusing. Nar holes.
Yeah, I cracked up really, really loud when I heard that.
The Nartivity equations.
That's the one. It's the field equations for the Nar holes, which...
The Nartivity. Hey, Nathan, do me a favor if I'm not popping in here on the show. Like I said, I wasn't kidding for the next 8 weeks. Can you somehow put that in the, your random draw that you give for the photos?
Random draw?
On the show, like put up Google Earth, Lake Pontchartrain.
I can have it readily available. Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I don't want to leave this point.
I don't blame you. we spent so much time figuring out that Google is essentially a flat Earth representation, looking how it transposes between the datum. I don't know which one. I still didn't look into it. Sorry. Maybe Anthony knows. Which datum do they use for Google Earth, Anthony? It's not. I say it's not WGS84. John maintains that it is.
Yeah, they claimed that WGS84.
It came up in the Isle of Man arguments, and I can't remember what the answer was. I think he brought it. Oh, fuck me! Who brought it up now? It was
Yeah,
either
it was
Rooney
1984.
Yeah, I think it is WGS84, the flattened geoid map.
Shit. Okay, I was wrong.
Yeah, it's a geoid. Right?
I think
it's a
it is.
geoid.
Don't quote me on it. I
It's
can't
an
remember off the top of my
ellipsoid.
head.
Somebody forgot to tell NASA that it was an ellipsoid.
Oh, the testicle.
Yeah, I don't care whether they put it on a friggin' crunched up Cracker Jack box. They have to know what their religion is, right? Now, if Google Earth is not the one, then give us the one that shows us the geometric shape of your friggin' reification fallacy. That's it.
Well, they know
We want to see it.
They all denounced the Google Earth when it was the Isle of Man stuff, didn't they? They stepped away from it very quickly.
Yeah. Well, I'm more than happy to take it and say, yeah, this is a flat Earth proof. And when they turn around and laugh, it's like, well, we've used it against you and you've renounced it as not being your model, and it shows that it's flat. There's no vertical drop from one position to another. It's displaying a flat plane. So what's the problem here? You just don't like that. Oh well. Earth's flat. Tough luck. Google knows it.
Are we still recording?
Yeah, it's the after show.
I want to share screens because I've got a conversation right now with dickhead Craig, what's his name, Fight the Flat Earth. I want to share this with you guys so that just to bring you guys up to speed, because this is just getting really, really good. I'm absolutely pro what Craig's done here with Musa. Absolutely pro. I support it, encourage it. It's what I'm hoping is going to be a very interesting conversation. Where the fuck's my screen share thing? Hang on a sec. Where's it gone? Got that many windows open, I don't even know where the hell it is.
Go on, Tony. You can do it.
I'm on it.
We believe in you, Tony.
Yeah. Right, here we go. So share this. Right. Can you see this here? This thread?
Yeah, perfect.
Right, the Flat Earth says, have you seen my teaser? And I said, yeah, my position has not changed. I'm waiting until the 20th. Because for some reason I'm going to call him a paid shill because I don't understand why anybody would hold back. I mean, it's 20 days from now. Honestly, 20 days from now, I could just ignore the reaction and just let it die because it would have lost its heat by then. And it's been going for like a week or 2 weeks already. I'm going to say that he's paid to do this because he doesn't seem to have the creative content license to do what he wants when he wants. I don't get why. Anyway, point is, Sleeping Warrior, can you at least admit that you were wrong about me not interviewing him? You have to be sweating, right? I hear you think that I'm acting in an
Jesus Christ!
In a paid agent way.
He
that?
Yeah, he can't even spell.
Just let a lot of people listen to the show as opposed to watch it. So just let him get to the end of reading it out so people can hear the full context.
Yeah. He says, "Can you at least admit you were wrong about me interviewing him?" Now, I didn't think he would. I thought he was blowing smoke. That's why I called him on it because I'm happy if he gets him on. It progresses the argument. You have to be sweating, right? I hear you think I'm acting in a paid agent way, getting your excuses in earlier, huh? And I said, didn't you see me credit you for actually getting him on? I will respond to the interview if it materializes, and I will credit you for it, and also for him for entertaining the point. Credit where it is due is given and will be given again. So yes, to answer your question, I am impressed that you have him. I look forward to what he does in the conversation. Smile. Sleeping Warrior, where did you leave credit? And you realize I'm going to air this and he is backing me and scientific consensus up. I've got you banged to rights here. And about that paid agent comment, I've ignored the second part because it's irrelevant at this point. And I said, Fight the Flat Earth. Just don't obfuscate the point. I made that 5 points video specifically because you asked me to. I asked you to take him through the 5 points that support me. And I asked you to address the points with him. So as long as you did that, I'm fine with anything that he comes back at me with. Seriously. Kudos for getting him to respond. Regardless of the outcome, it's adding to the community. And even though I know you think you have me cornered, if I am wrong here, I will admit it. However, I expect you to do the same. If, one, you obfuscate the point with him by not addressing the points made, or 2, he moves the goalposts with wriggle words to get out of what he's written, or 3, admits that Einstein did actually replace Newtonian gravitation, then you lose. When you present your interview, I will respond with his exact words being referenced. We're going to go through this with a fine. We are literally going to hone in on his exact words that he uses. This guy's not going to get away with just having the right of response and then that's the end of it, because we're going to address it. I am looking forward to what he does. Regardless of what you are claiming at this point, you're not really the focus. His reaction is. It's the first time I've been able to actually challenge science, and I appreciate that opportunity and I relish it. His words won't be the closure of the point. You asked for a continuation, right? I agreed, right? The closure of the point will come in that continuation after you see my reply. Is that fair? And then I've seen him. I didn't realize he'd responded twice. So he asked, "Where did you leave credit?" So I've responded again to see, because I didn't see that initially. I don't know exactly which comment it was on. It was on a previous thread where you and I were directly talking. Please don't demand that I find it. I won't be able to. I have no issue at all publicly, and I will do this, crediting you for the approach to Musa. I hate being flat earth, Craig. If we can progress the science, I am totally behind that. Having Musa on is massive kudos to you and him. Battling aside, I credit and value moving things forward, and this is just that. I'm with you on this. So what I'm doing is I'm basically making him. I hate being flat earth. I do. I hate it. But if this guy is going against what we're told, and you guys should check this yourself so that you know that I'm not arguing from a defiant or an ignorant or a stupid position. It does say in the definition for theory of relativity that it superseded Einstein. I've given 5 citations that support it. Musa has to literally go against everything it says and somehow come out with wiggle. He's got to wiggle. He's got to wiggle. Otherwise, he's not going to be able to get away with this. Whatever he does is going to benefit us on our side, because he's either going to disagree with Craig, possible, not likely, but possible. He's going to wriggle with weasel words, definitely likely. That's the most likely. Or the interview is going to be obfuscated, and the point that is at hand won't be addressed. Did Einstein replace Newtonian principles for gravitation or not? That's the point. So long as the point's not obfuscated somehow, and he answers that point, we will all benefit. So I'm encouraging this because it doesn't really matter what he does here. It gives us meat to chew on, and I'm absolutely for that because, like I say, A, I hate being FE, and B, gravitation is he's going to have to go against what we're told. So even if he does go against it, he's good. The science is contradictory. So I'm going to use this. If I get a chance to write a thesis on this, I'm going to use this exact scenario to show how science contradicts itself, and inadvertently or intentionally, I will argue.
There is no science in this. Every time you said science in that in his remarks should have been pseudoscience, right?
I agree.
Where is this?
It's already over.
What video is it on?
This is. It's time to party now, because George Musser steps out here. He's stepping off into an abyss.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, John, I'll be honest, John.
Too good.
You're too loose with your tongue to be respectful at times, and that's what he's not going to want. I want to have this conversation so that.
What?
I know, but listen, he doesn't have to speak to us. He can just maintain his silence, and if he's prepared to speak to us, we need to be respectful.
Who's too loose with his tongue?
You're a bitch.
Oh,
what the heck are you talking about?
Oh, God.
You can't call him a crayon muncher if he's prepared to talk to us.
No, I'm not going to call him a crayon muncher, Anthony. I'm going to show him why, where, how, what he is a crayon muncher. Then I'm going to call him a crayon muncher.
You can't call him a crayon muncher.
Sounds going to destroy him.
We should have a debate if he's a crayon muncher.
No,
that's what it is.
If you call him a crayon muncher, it devalues the points that you've made prior.
No, it doesn't.
No shit. Call him Elmer Fudd.
Hostile witness.
Yeah, hostile witness.
He's finished, man. He's finished. He comes out here.
Finished.
He's done
He's
for.
Fucked. He's fucked. He is fucked.
There was 2 things that I wanted to get in there. So if anybody else has got a comment on this, make it now, because I'm going to slightly go off on a tangent using one of Anthony's remarks. Anybody else? What's being... No, go on.
No, go on. He said no.
Oh, okay. What's being flat Earth?
Oh, I hate being on this side. Being flat Earth is the opposing position to heliocentrism. Even if you're not flat Earth, I mean, I tend to try and be more neutral so that I can engage more ball Earthers. So I try and be more neutral. I think that the Earth probably
Flat
is
Earth
flat.
is a standpoint. That's it.
Yeah, it's
Snakes
just rejecting the
can't be
heliocentric model, isn't it?
Snakes can't be neutral. That's what you are, Anthony.
Fuck you. No, I'm not. What I'm trying to do is lure Craig into a conversation that I know he's going to lose. Now, the thing is, he'll claim victory, and all his dick holders will support him, regardless of the outcome here, because it's getting heated. I don't get why he's holding it back to the 20th of May, but I'm happy to wait, because whatever he does, he's fucked. So I'm playing neutral, and I'm encouraging him, because I'm going to slice his fucking head off.
You already know why he's waiting. You said it in the first
like
instance.
a social version of the financial stockholder.
You said the point would get lost and diluted if he held it back long enough, and I think that's the reason, as opposed to him being a paid shill and controlled with his schedule. But there we go.
Well, let's not lose it. Let's bring it up along with Lake Pontchartrain. Let's bring up George Mooser's name. He's the senior editor. Now, I don't know if he's the senior editor now at Scientific American, but
no. Let's not bring
up
Pontchartrain. Let's focus on Mooser, because this is really productive, right? We've got actually
no.
It's
not just yours, Anthony.
All right, we can all have a chunk of whoever we want a chunk of. It's all good.
It's Pontchartrain every day for 8 weeks, and George Mooser, he's not going to be forgotten. Every time I come on, I'm going to bring him up now.
We can't do Pontchartrain for 8 days when we've only got 20 days left. Let's do Pontchartrain, dribbling it in. I want to focus on Mooser.
I'm sorry. No.
You can both focus on whatever you want to focus on. These two things are not mutually exclusive.
Right,
no,
and I'll even bring up Mooser. I've got some skin in this game.
Yeah, I know, but I just want Mooser. I want this Mooser thing I want Craig to realise, whatever comes out of this, Craig's got to either obfuscate the point intentionally in the hangout, of which we will point it out if he does, and then claim victory because he's done it, that they won't accept, and they'll say that we're being bitter, and semantic or whatever. But he's got to obfuscate the hangout. He's got to get Mooser to contradict Craig, or Mooser's got to use wiggle words to get out of what he's written.
Yeah, we already know that. You already said it 5 times. We got it. Now, Craig, fight the flat Earth. Here's the person that you're arguing with. This guy said on a hangout, a hypothesis is an explanation, and 15 seconds later he said a hypothesis isn't an explanation. This is the level of person you're dealing with here, Anthony.
Yeah, but the thing is, for some reason, people seem to like him. And
who cares?
He's got an auto cue. Have you seen this video on auto cue?
They like what he talks about.
90% of 99.999% of all the inhabitants, the Earth dwellers, are heliocentric. Why should that surprise you?
Doesn't.
Yeah,
right?
It doesn't surprise me that they like him. They like his name, the fact, his purpose. The fact that his name is Fight
moron. Have you watched this guy on any of the shows? My 12-year-old can make him look like a babbling idiot within 2 minutes.
He has religious moral support, like people that are Catholic just support their church. They don't really think about what's happening with that. So people are like, oh yeah, he's good because he's on our side. And then
this is like Simon Dan. I mean,
God.
This moron. I don't think he can open up a door unassisted. I mean,
but that guy officially says that he refuses to go into any kind of live discussion with anyone.
Who?
He's a total coward.
Yeah, that's because he's a. But the thing is, Craig will do that. So it's like, on the one hand, when Craig's off script, he's quite easy to corner. But when he's on script and he's reading off he's got an auto cue, right? Or through his phone or whatever. Point is, though, he's got this, he seems to have this audience that seem to worship him. And I'm like, the guy's a fucking prick.
Who cares, man? Who cares? Concentrate on George Mooser. Don't get sidetracked by these idiots. Now, George
That's why I'm encouraging him to get this hangout
just
done.
Troll worshipping.
Yeah, it's like
let's take them all down.
It's like a shiny lure with all you guys, right? We're putting a shiny lure. You're like dumbass trout, putting a shiny lure in the water, and y'all go chasing after it. Now we need to get the big guys. George Moser is one.
Yeah, I agree.
So concentrate on him, not fat Earth.
Oh, no, I agree. He's out of the equation at this point. I want to see his exact words and how he explains this, because basically he has to go against what we're told in the science novel.
He's not going to do that. He's not going to hang himself out to dry for the sake of some guy that he talks to on a recorded Skype.
What's he going to do?
You don't know that, Nathan. I'm telling you, pride gets in the way. Moser is an astrophysicist, right? I'm telling you, don't underestimate pride. Don't do it.
What do you mean pride? That's what I was trying to get at earlier on the live show. So you said, well, your opinion was that he will contradict himself, and I had a conversation with Anthony earlier this morning, and I said completely the opposite. I just don't think he'll back Craig and hang himself out to dry. But you're saying pride, and I just don't follow the logic. I don't understand what you're saying.
Pride, he's a representative of the heliocentric community, or whatever they call themselves. He's going to have to... I don't see how he can not contradict himself, because it's plain as day what he said. I mean, an incoherent second grader can read that and say, oh, yeah, okay. And everyone knows this anyway.
Yeah, but so therefore
about Einstein and Newtonian.
Well, if you can't see, and I can't, a way he could contradict himself, given that there's at least 2 citations that make it black and white clear what he's saying, then I don't think he will. He'd just softly and politely explain where Craig's wrong to Craig.
No, he can't do that
why
either,
would he go on
because
the
he wouldn't have
show?
the interview. He's going to have to literally move the goalposts. He's going to have to provide wiggle room to weasel his way out of it. Because at the end of the day, he's got to choose: does he support Craig, or does he not support Craig, or does he support science overall? But either way, he's fucked. So whatever he says, we will go through his words, the minutiae of his words, and what we'll then be is criticised for being pedantic and semantic. But at the end of the day, this guy is science. Let's attack this guy professionally on what he says, because he is science.
Yeah, why would he go on the interview?
Pseudoscience.
Why? Yeah, exactly. But why would he go on the interview? I mean, Craig already said that he's going to support Craig's position, and George Moser is going to support Craig's position. So he already said that. So why would he do the interview? Why would Craig even publish the video?
Well,
that's the $1 million question, isn't it? If I was Musa, I wouldn't do it. I would leave it to Craig.
But you're lending lots of weight to what Craig has said. Craig has said he supported him. Well, wouldn't it be shoved right down our throats immediately, as opposed to a 28-day timeline to get it out onto the public consumption?
That's why I think he's a paid agent. I don't think he's got creative license to do it immediately.
Perhaps Fat Earth is on his period.
Maybe.
Yeah, so he's going to contradict himself. There's nowhere, I'm telling you. Pride is going to show up, buddy.
Okay.
And I'm going to be standing there with a damn flamethrower. So get ready, Georgie.
Maybe
Honestly,
he's watching this now.
Yeah, he might be watching this. I'm looking forward to it, because this is the most we've got advanced in the discussion. We've actually got someone that represents the science to be accountable. This is brilliant for us. This is really good.
He knows the game plan.
From pseudoscience,
this cold as well.
He doesn't represent science.
I was going to say, he's a pseudoscience astrophysicist, which is something that John's been salivating over for quite some time.
Yeah, and not only is he a pseudoscience astrophysicist, his trained degree was in electrical engineering.
Whose?
Musa.
No.
I'm telling you, if you look on George Musa's Wikipedia page, he is quoted as...
Let's go check.
Brown University in... hang on.
If he does publish it...
He did his undergraduate degree in electrical engineering and mathematics.
Okay.
And his postgrad in planetary science. Get this though. George Musa did his thesis on the convection, the modelled mantle convection on Venus. They don't even know what the modelled mantle convection on Earth is.
What? He's doing a thesis on a light in the sky. I'm going to do a thesis on a light in the sky.
Modelled on mantle convection on Venus.
Yeah.
Well, wait a second. Wait a second. That is ridiculous. However, you just read it. His undergraduate was electrical engineering, fine, and mathematics at Brown, but his graduate studies are planetary science.
That's a contradiction in terms.
Science?
Planetary science. Establishing cause and effect with lights in the sky, eh? Yeah, we're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can rip him apart on his biography on Wikipedia.
We're doing it right now.
However, what we're going to do is take his words and whatever is, so long as Craig does, because if Craig Craig's real way out of this, if I was a worm like Craig, I would obfuscate the point in the hangout. That's what I think he'll do.
Do you think he'll put in something about apparent retrograde motion to support his theory?
Fuck off. Will he fuck?
I'm just questioning.
Good one, Phil. Thanks for that, Phil.
That's so absurd. It has to have been a joke, and I took it that way.
It was funny. I laughed.
It was.
Yeah, so I don't know. What does it say? His official degree, his PhD in planetary that's an astrophysicist. To me, that's what it's telling me. I could be
planetary
wrong.
science. I mean, he's talking about tectonic activity on Venus, right?
Astrophysicist, as in presuppositional physics.
Yeah.
He's doing convection currents.
He's a
Convectional
narnologist.
currents on
He's a
Venus.
narnologist.
Yeah, his thesis work modelled mantle convection on Venus. How the fuck does he know anything about? Bearing in mind that Venus isn't Venus meant to be a gas planet? Am I wrong there?
No, it's had the, according to their rhetoric, it's had the greenhouse effect take over, but it's not a gas. No, it's a
it's
physical
an
body
acidic atmosphere, supposedly.
Yeah, it's had a runaway greenhouse effect according to their bullshit narrative about what that light in the sky is.
And do you know what's even worse? I might be wrong here, John. Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't the word modelled have double L in it? It might be an Americanism if it's only got one L. But in England, modelled, the word modelled would have two L's in it.
If you use it as a
one L over here.
verb, like modeling, then it's
Yeah,
two
it might
L's.
be an
But
Americanism.
A model as a separate. Ah, damn it.
Well, in England, it would have double L, but in America, sometimes they have different spellings for the same
No,
word.
that's called misspelling.
So is it me, John,
It's
or has he
always
got
a single L if it is a thing and not a act.
And I'm trying to find his bio to get some kind of, whether he's got a master's or a PhD.
Well, it's vague
really
because
not.
it says undergraduate studies, meaning degree, right? But then it says it's graduate studies, not postgrad. It says graduate studies.
Right, that's it. Yeah, right. I see where you're going, and I caught that too. That's why I'm trying to get the bio.
Yeah, I'm not sure what his background is, but it's definitely questionable because he doesn't reference it in terminology that everybody understands, which is what you normally do. I got a postgrad in this, I got an undergrad in this, a postgrad in that, and my thesis was on this. That's what he should have said, and he didn't say that. And I'm like, weasel words seem to be applied here.
I know you can get certifications, and sometimes they're counted as postgrad studies.
Could I do a PhD on the hydrogen cycle on Titan? Just make it all up.
Probably. You'd have to fill out 100,000 words.
You could even do a xenobiology study on potential life on the moon of Jupiter.
Jupiter's not a moon. Titan is a moon of Jupiter.
Oh, yeah, the moon of
Saturn.
Jupiter.
Is it Saturn or Jupiter? You're
I
getting me
know
confused now.
Jupiter is not a moon.
Do it on Io.
What pisses me off is he doesn't say what he says what his undergrad was in, but he doesn't reference his postgrad work properly. Because if he's done a master's, it should say he did a master's postgrad in whatever. But it just says his graduate studies. Unless that's an Americanism, I don't even understand that. I'm going to have to Google that phrase.
I can't find his bio. That's pretty strange. Maybe I'm just looking in the wrong spot. I usually could pull these up relatively quickly.
I think it's amazing that you can do a study on a light in the sky, and it just beggars belief, really.
Well, that's why that article
the
exists.
biology study on life, you are presupposing to be on a physical place based on the presupposition that the light in the sky is a physical place. So yeah, can go even.
Guy's so fucked.
Well, you can do anything in pseudoscience.
Yeah, that's right.
You can do anything with pseudoscience.
That's why that article exists on Scientific America saying that theoretical physics is pointless without experimental tests. It's fucked. Musa is fucked here. What? No matter what, unless he's got some ace in the pack that we none of us can foresee. He's
They never
fucked
have.
here, and so's Craig.
No, they never have. We know the magic trick. That's it. You know what card are they going to pull out of a sleeve that we're not going to spot?
No, but the best thing is though, Moose is coming into this cold. He has no idea the background that we've got, so he's going to come into this and he's going to immediately get his head sliced off, probably in his first sentence or two.
That's our best advantage in this argument, I would say. The automatic assumption by our opponents is that we are retards.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. You're in the shadows. You're the hand at Mona Lisa's skirt, right?
Haha, good movie.
Devil's advocate.
I can't wait, me. I just don't get why he has to wait that long for the trail to go cold. It's like, I see what you're saying, Nathan. He could be doing it intentionally because he realizes he's fucked up. But he's reaffirming his position all the time, saying that he's definitely right, blah blah blah. But for me, it's like he hasn't got the creative license to do what he wants when he wants.
So have you contacted Musa?
Pardon?
Have you contacted him?
Who? Musa?
Yeah.
No, I don't need to at this point, do I?
Why not?
Because he hasn't done anything yet.
Well, yeah, but what do you want out of Musa? You personally, hold your tongue a second, John. What do you want out of Musa, Anthony?
To clarify the position that he wrote in Scientific American. If he basically supports his position that he wrote in Scientific America, Craig's wrong. If he doubles down, if he elaborates on it, he's going to apply weasel words to which he's going to be held accountable, or he's going to say, Craig, you're wrong. Craig's going to have to obfuscate the point in the hangout. So whatever happens, I'm all right with, because both of them are dead.
You're just a little fixated on Craig. So what you want from Musa is him to affirm his position that you've got citation for.
Yeah.
Do you need him for that? Like, literally, you've got a citation already?
Well, see, I've got 2 citations from Musa himself, plus 3 from other citations, one of which was Caltech, then Brian Cox, and then a TV documentary that don't support Craig's current assertion that Musa is somehow replacing Newton with Einstein. Craig's saying that Musa is refining Newton's argument, and I'm saying, no, he's not. He's snapping the wand in 2. He doesn't refine it. He kicks it into the bin.
Have you got those citations to hand,
whatever Musa
John?
actually does, so long...
Anthony, have you got those citations to hand? The others,
Musas,
not the non-Musa citations.
Brian Cox is the one where he talks about Einstein, and he says for Newton the apple fell down, but for Einstein the Earth rose up. And in that hangout, he said it wasn't actually a force at all. That they were his actual words. Are you familiar with the one I'm on about?
Yes, it's not a hangout, it's a TV show, but yeah. And the Caltech one?
A TV show, yeah. Pardon?
And the Caltech?
Let me think. Do I have that immediately? Let's have a quick look. Gravity. John might have the Caltech one immediately. Let's have a look. I'd have to go back to my video and see where I got it from. I can't remember.
Don't worry too much if you've not got it to hand. But there are other citations.
Wait, one.
Okay.
Yeah, I gave him 5. 2 that were Musa himself, saying that he replaced Newtonian principles. Caltech, Brian Cox, and a TV program that said the same thing. They all literally said gravity's not a force. It's the curvature of space-time. So even if Musa wiggles out of his 2, he's still got to address the other 3, and that's where he'll hang himself.
Do you want to, if you can stick it up on screen, I'll present you, John.
Let me pull it. Wait a second.
No
Let me go into. Hold on one second. Let me go into. Yeah, no didn't we do a gravity presentation?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
I gotta go past something. Hold on a second. I'm not sharing my screen just yet. You know what I mean.
Hide the granny porn, John. Hide the granny porn.
All right. Hold on. Tell me what it's up.
Yeah, you're up now.
So it's this one, Caltech. So Einstein came up with the theory of general relativity in 1915, the prototype of all modern gravitational theories. Its crucial ingredient involving a colossal intellectual jump is the concept of gravitation, not as a force, right? Everyone knows this, but as manifestation of the curvature of space-time. So, and then the Brian Cox interview, there isn't really a force of gravity at all.
epic. Oh,
So
thanks
it's
for
over
sticking
right
that.
there. I mean, everyone knows this. I don't see what the problem is. Now, how is, and here's George Moosers, how is he
What's
going
the
to
name?
get around this?
What's the name of that article again?
It's how Einstein revealed the universe's strange non-locality.
Okay, thank you.
So let's just read this. Einstein created his general theory of relativity, which provides our modern understanding of gravity. That right there. You can just stop there. We won't. With the express purpose of expunging non-locality from physics. Isaac Newton's gravity acted at a distance as if by magic, and general relativity snapped the wand in two by showing that the curvature of space-time and not an invisible force, not. Do I have to define not? Not in an invisible force gives rise to gravitational attraction. So, he snapped the wand in two. Well, which wand is he talking about? Well, as if by magic, Newton's gravity. He snapped it. How are you going to get out of this? These are your own words. What are you going to say? I'm at a loss, gentlemen.
Yeah, and on that note, I'm going to round out the after show. So with that, I'll say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who have joined us on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream for tuning in, smashing the super chat, hopefully, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, all that good stuff. If you need something to keep you occupied after this premiering stream is over, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!